尽大的身体，为此发挥及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahudi sanmyao sanputoshe.
Namo sabanto suchedoye alahadi samyao sanputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Venerable Master and Dharma friends, welcome to our Sutra lecture tonight. My name is Heng. Today is the 15th of August. We're halfway through the month of August. It's a Saturday night here in Berkeley, California. We're about to launch into our weekly Avatamsaka Sutra lecture investigation. And this is a really powerful section of the sutra because our hero, Sudana, is actually starting to talk to his next teacher. And his teacher is a rishi. The rishi is known as a ascetic master, sometimes called an immortal, and in Chinese, a xianren. There's lots of folklore and mythology around xianren and xiannu, right? So we're finding out how the Avatamsaka Sutra talks about rishis or immortals or xianren or ascetic masters. So we need to continue with our opening protocols here. And we're going to invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to draw in, to come down, join us. And we would like to respectfully acknowledge the Chochecho Ohlone people who practice their spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. That's here in the Bay Area, all up and down the coast. And today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. And we offer our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. Here we go. 我们恭敬承认traditional Ohlone 有几种他们的是我们寺院所在地的传统实施者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。Bells sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000劫内，佛法扬万国中，共宣其法界和平，利益报贪恶厚德。Talking about the Ohlone people, I was listening to a story, some history from the 16th century. This is something like 1580. Sir Francis Drake, who was the pride and joy of the British Navy, although from another point of view, he was a pirate. But he came to Northern California, having come, he hadn't yet gone around the planet, but he was looking for a way to get back to England, having reached the Pacific Ocean. And he landed in Drake's Bay, which is in Marin. And he met the Miwok people, who are relatives of the Ohlone. And the Miwok, everybody, oh, by the way, I want to say, if anybody is chilly here, you can close those windows. There's 4 windows are open there. So help, if you feel like there's a wind coming in, help yourself. You have to open that little port and reach out. So up to you. Anyway, everyone who met the Miwok and the Ohlone people said, without exception, that they were kind, happy, satisfied, and Jerry, can we drop the screen further down? And unwarlike. Everyone who has a story about those people say that they uniformly say how peace-loving the Ohlone and the Miwok people were. And some of the best scholarship done about these tribes is done at Cal, of course. Kroeber Hall was where the indigenous studies were, a branch of anthropology that made the most of being here in California. So the theory from Kroeber Hall is that the reason that the Ohlone and the Miwok peoples who were here on the coast were so unwarlike was because their lives was so good. They had shellfish. There's Shell Mound Road right there along El Cerrito and Albany and up there. And the reason for that is there was shellfish. If they were hungry, they would just go down to the bay as the tide went out and revealed all these acres and acres of shellfish. And they had salmon. There was salmon in Strawberry Creek coming right down from what we now know as the UC Berkeley campus. Strawberry Creek had salmon running in it. So life was good. And when you have enough in this Mediterranean climate that grows all kinds of fruit, most of the land here was orchards, then why go to war? Why struggle? So life was good. And those folks were peace-loving. So we could ask ourselves, why do we go to war? And the answer is greed, largely. That's another story. Okay, welcome everybody who is here from all over the world. My goodness, watching folks sign in all over the US, Hong Kong and Shanghai and Taipei and Calgary and Seattle and Montreal, Shanghai. My goodness. Welcome. So glad you're all here. Me too. I love looking into the Sutra with all of you, and that I consider it a huge blessing that I get to be the person who puts the voice out. So tonight's topic, Sudana has reached the Rishi, as I mentioned earlier, and the Rishi is quite a character. If we saw him walking down Shattuck Avenue, if we saw him at the DMV, if we saw him at a roadside rest on Highway 80, we would probably be a little alarmed because he is what we would call Mother Nature's son. He is a nativist. The way the Sutra describes him as wearing clothes made from tree bark and grass. So he looks like someone who is maybe attended UC Santa Cruz, probably lives in a redwood, eats only organic food, and is probably very much committed to environmental issues, right? That kind of guy. So he's remarkable in his appearance, and he's got, it says, thousands of disciples all surrounding him, all listening to his instructions for how to cultivate the way. Sudana looks at him, and we get today's first reaction is where we are. We've just begun. This is teacher number 9, and Sudana is just now beginning to size him up. Let's go back to that part and to catch the description. The second thing the sutra says after, actually the first thing that it says before it gets into the description of the teacher is trees. He lives in a forest. Anybody, how many Malaysians are here tonight? Any Malaysian male? Probably online we have a couple dozen. So in Malaysia, particularly East Malaysia, Sabah Sarawak, do you know what orangutan means? Orangutan, you know what an orangutan is? It's that big, very humanoid ape, the orange looking. It's tree person. Orangutan means shuren, right? Forest person. So it's, mind you, it's an ape, but it's one of the closest apes to human. And if you ever watch it, I've been to the Kuala Lumpur Zoo and the Singapore Zoo both. And when they are proud of having orangutans that are, They're not allowed to vote or be citizens, but they're pretty close. They were the original Yuanzhumi, right? The original storytellers and custodians of the lands. The way they raise their children is so human. It's shocking to see the interactions that the orangutans have with their own offspring, and then any humans that are there as their keepers. You can see why they're called forest people. Lin Shu Lin Ziren. All right, so let's take a look here. I'm going to read just the English because we've already done this here. So he travels on to the kingdom of Nalayar, and he looks everywhere for Bhishmo Tarana Nirgosha. He saw a vast forest which was adorned with Sankhya trees. Specifically, there were many deciduous trees that the leaves fall from, branching out with lush foliage, many flowering trees, luxuriantly blossoming with fresh flowers, many fruit trees ripening in close succession, many jewel trees raining down fruits of maya, huge sandalwood trees arranged everywhere in rows, sinking in water trees that constantly gave off fine fragrance, mind-delighting fragrant trees giving wonderful redolence as their adornment, and patra trees standing on all sides. More, nyagroda trees, profuse and inspiring, jambunata trees perpetually raining down sweet fruits, and there were utpala flowers and padma flowers beautifying the ponds and lakes. So, typical Avatamsaka story, it gives us 10 kinds of trees. And one of the commentaries that you make when you read something like this is, notice how forests are inclusive, how nature includes and doesn't exclude. People should learn from the forests. There's room in the forest for all these different kinds of trees. Likewise, the earth feeds and grows and nurtures every kind of tree without rejecting them. The roots find the groundwater and flourish all the same. So how come we people are so clear about, oh, this person don't like the color of their skin, oh, this person looks different from me, oh, this person eats different food, wears different clothes, has different friends. So we distinguish so clearly. This person votes in a different way, so they're my enemy. Listening to the same podcast today about Sir Francis Drake, this was a time, the 16th century, 1500s in England, when so much blood was shed between Catholics and Protestants, both Christians. My own relatives, I discovered, were Huguenot people who were murdered by the thousands and thousands in France on St. Bartholomew's Day. The St. Bartholomew's Day massacre was a time when the Catholics in France rose up and slaughtered the Protestants. And these are people who, although completely agreed that the Bible is the source, Jesus is Son of God, still they couldn't get along to the point that they killed each other for different interpretations of the same text. How strange we are, right? When you take the Sutra with its description of a forest that is happy to grow what? Deciduous trees, flowering trees, fruit trees, jewel trees, sandalwood, sinking in water, mind-delighting, fragrant, patra, nigroda, jambunada, utpala, padma. All these different flowers grow just fine in the forest. The earth grows us all. And yet we all go back to the earth too. You know, we all get buried or our ashes get returned to it. And yet while we're here in these bodies, humans have this ability to make trouble and distinguish so clearly among words, languages, voting, etc. Strange. So, trees, interestingly, in Buddhism, trees in Buddhism have this really long and important relationship to the point where Buddha after Buddha after Buddha gets enlightened under different Bodhi trees. Bodhi trees come in different varieties. Our Buddha, Shakyamuni, was enlightened under a fig tree. It's called a ficus religiosa. So the Puti Shu takes different kinds of trees depending on the Buddha. Some Buddhas are enlightened under Sala tree. Others are enlightened under palm trees. So it's always a Puti Shu, a Bodhi tree, but the kind of tree it is different depending on the Buddha. Okay, so we've been following Sudana to the forest, and he identifies all these trees. Now he sees the teacher. And here's where we get the description of what he looks like. Are we ready? Here we go. At that time, the youth Sudana saw the rishi seated on grass that was spread out beneath the sandalwood trees. He commanded over 10,000 disciples, some of whom wore deer skins, some of whom were clothed in tree bark, some of whom wore clothes woven from grass. Their hair was tied up in topknots or hung down in braids, and they all gathered around him. So there we are. Imagine if this guy with his 10,000 disciples all showed up in Santa Rosa. There they are, and they're looking for a place to spend the night. So they want to hear, they need a place where they can hear their teacher speak. And somebody says, oh, no, keep walking. 50 miles north, Talmadge, you'll find this, they got a big gate there. That's where you want to go. Room for you, 10,000 Buddhas up there. There's room for all of you. So probably we should prepare for Bhishmo, Tarana, and Nirgosha's disciples to show up. So here they are, they're wearing deer skin and tree bark, and they've got long hair. People know about the Kumbh Mela in India. Anybody ever been? Kumbh, K-H-U-M-B, Mela. The Kumbh Mela in India is the world's largest gathering of any kind whatsoever. It has to do with the sun and the moon. They take it by astrology. And when the sun and the moon are in the right place, everybody goes to the Ganges. And in the Ganges, they bathe. And there are millions of disciples. They say that in the Kumbh Mela, if everybody who attends were to stand up and jump, they would alter the orbit of the planet Earth. That many people all at once in one spot. So the Kumbh Mela it's a Hindu gathering, and it is the world's largest rock concert. It's not a rock concert. It's a sacred moment. It lasts a week or more, and it is, put that on your radar. So you'll hear about it when it happens, because there's usually a news report about it, because there's just, 1 million plus people show up. And who gets to bathe in the Ganges first is a big issue. And that's done according to, it's very carefully organized, because when you have 1 million people, they have to have 1 million people's worth of toilets, 1 million people's worth of food, 1 million people's worth of parking lots, and all of the controls for contagious diseases and elders who faint, or, they occasionally there are disasters, like there'll be, for some reason, people will rush and trample others, but those are certainly the exception, not the rule. The Kumbh Mela is this incredible spiritual moment, and there are people who, like the Hajj, right, like the pilgrimage to Mecca for Muslims, the Kumbh Mela is said to be one of those moments where if you're tuned in to the vibration, you can truly make spiritual progress. So that's the Kumbh Mela. See if I can get now that I've talked about it off the cuff, let's see if we can get a photo. The photos are always inspiring. K-H-U-M-B-M-E-L-A. There we are. Yeah, for example, everyone is waiting for the right moment. The sun and the moon have to be in the right orientation before the first swamis dip into the ocean, dip into the river, the Ganges. And it goes on and on. Let's see here. Here's a National Geographic photo. Every 12 years, India builds this mega city, then tears it down. We don't get to watch that article. Here we go. Hinduism today. There we are. You can see the millions of people who bathe in the Ganges. So we only have 10,000 disciples here following our rishi, but they're devoted to their teacher. And Sudana, he is the brand new kid. He's just arrived, and he's been sent here by the lady Upasika Asha. And she said, you have to go and ask him how you cultivate the Bodhisattva path, how you practice Bodhisattva practices, and he will ask you about your Bodhi resolve. So get ready and get your answers. And so Sudana comes up, and this is where we tune in today. This is our text. I'll give you the line and you give it back to me. Okay, together, both sides, ready? Here we go. 善财见疑，王益其所，五体投地，作如是言：我今得遇真善知识。Okay. Let's read this all together. We ready? With me together. Seeing this, Sudana walked to his side and bowed with his 5 limbs on the ground and said, I have now met a true good advisor. Okay, here we go. So the first thing he does is he bows. Sudana has been well trained. You remember what Manjushri said? Manjushri said, good man, he said, you need to go gong jing, gong yang, li jing, yi che zhu, da shan zhi. He said, I want you to go and bow to, show your respects to, make offerings to true, good, and wise advisors. So then he sends him off. And those are his instructions. And sure enough, this is number 9. He's already been to 8 different teachers, and it's been years. He's been on the road for years. That's why we know he's not a baby. He's not a child. So he goes to the teacher, and you have to figure that the rishi is easy to approach. For sure, he's got senior disciples, and he's got probably greeters, 10,000 people you have to organize. So Sudana is able to walk right up to him and then show respects. So the disciples around the rishi look at, this must be a good guy. He really knows how to get close to a teacher and what to do when you meet him. Sudana takes a look at him and goes, this is a true good advisor. And what happens next is we get one of those Avatamsaka moments where a pattern is repeated 10 times. And take a look at the text here. It goes, 善知识者, 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 10 times. 10 times over. Okay, take a look here. He says, 我今得遇, I now get to meet 真 true Shan zhi shi. Now, Shan zhi shi is Chinese for the Sanskrit term Kalyana Mitra. Kalyana Mitra is the Sanskrit term that we in English translate as good and wise teacher. People have translated it as good spiritual friend, good advisor. Our early Chinglish translations was good knowing one, a good knowing one, which is not the way people talk, but that was our version. Good and wise advisor. So there's a wholesomeness. The shan there is good at heart. And the zhi part is one who knows. So how do you become a Kalyana Mitra? You've got a really good heart and you're also knowledgeable. Those are the qualities that make a Kalyana Mitra, good spiritual friend. So from one point of view, everybody here tonight can be considered a Shanzhishi to the person sitting next to you. And having been, why is that? Because you took part of your Saturday night to come listen to a lecture on an old book, an ancient Buddhist text. How rare is that this is what you considered how you wanted to spend your Saturday night. Come and listen to the Buddha's voice, talk about wisdom, talk about a bodhisattva, and think of all the other things you could have been doing, but this was your choice tonight. So there's the good heart right there. And spending 90 minutes listening to this text in a couple languages. And this book is 2,000 years old. And yet this is what we do every Saturday night. Is come and listen to the wisdom here. And then if we can interpret it and then put it to use in our lives, we have not only been listening to this book, we've digested it. We've made tea out of these tea leaves. We've added the hot water of cultivation to get the flavor and the inspiration of good tea. We've put the principles into practice, and we've really fulfilled Master Hua's wish for us that we not only bow to the sutra, recite the sutra, translate the sutra, we actually put these principles into practice. That's unique. That's key. So, okay, 10 of these. And what is the pattern? So, Shan zhi shi zhe, the good and wise advisor, the good spiritual friend, zi shi qu xiang yi qie, happens 10 times. Zi shi is then qu xiang. Qu xiang is an interesting word. It's too big. Let's try that again. Try 200. There we go. It jumped. This is the notes page. Try 250. Well, you need to make it bigger. This word has been translated not as effectively, I think. There we go. It means approach, head towards, aim at. There. Goes for, like to go for it. To face, to proceed towards. It means to face, meaning you pick that. I've got 360, I'm going to go west, right? You pick that. That's qu xiang, to go for. To go for what? Yi qie zhi. This repeats over and over 10 times. Yi qie zhi is the Buddha's wisdom. It's knowledge, but it's omniscience, omniscience. knowledge of everything. If you have Ichezhi, you know everything. There's nothing that you don't know. So facing for omniscience or wisdom, the good and wise teacher is a something that faces all wisdom, omniscience. That's the pattern, 10 times, okay? Here it's man, and then there's ling wo, something. So we get this pattern. Let's take, if we go all the way down, and then we'll go all the way through the English. Let's practice our Chinese and get the pattern, and then we'll look at the translation. Okay, we're going to start right here. Ready? Here we go. Shan zhi shi zhe, give me that back. Shan. 此是取向一切智门，令我得入真实道故。善知识者，此是去向一切智上，令我得至如来地故。善知识者，此是去向一切智传，令我得至至宝周故。至宝周故。Okay, all right. We did 1, 2, 3 of them, 4 of them. Let's see what it is. Okay, let's read this all together, starting with Ready? Here we go. A good advisor is a gate that approaches omniscience, for he enables me to enter the true and actual way. A good advisor is a vehicle that approaches omniscience, for he guides me to the stage of a thus come one. A good advisor is a boat that approaches omniscience, for he guides me to the jeweled continent of wisdom. Okay, so see the pattern. So the Chinese was, 善知识者, a good advisor, is a something, something, something that faces me towards omniscience, wisdom. A good advisor is a gate that approaches, that faces. This translator took it as approaches, but it's that aims at omniscience. For the teacher enables me to enter the true and actual way. You don't go wrong when you have a good advisor. You don't waste your time. A good advisor is a vehicle. Interesting, huh? The Chinese was sheng, a carriage, a conveyance, a car that approaches, that leads me towards omniscience. Why? He guides me to the stage of a Buddha. He takes you all the way, doesn't quit halfway. A good advisor is a zhou, a boat that aims towards omniscience, that goes for omniscience, because he guides me to the jeweled continent of wisdom. Wisdom is analogous to an island made of jewels. How wonderful. So 3 things. Sudana, what's he doing? He's singing. Sudana's doing spoken word poetry, praising a teacher. And here is all the 10,000 disciples are looking at this new guy who's there bowing to their teacher. And they're like, who's this kid? And he's like, he's saying, I've met a real good teacher. Here's what a teacher means to me. And out comes this, he's spouting this poetry, right? You can visualize what it would be like to be there with Sudana doing this. He's obviously moved. Okay, we've got 7 more. Let's do them one by one. Here we go. Ready? I'll give it to you. Give it back. 上至师者，此是趋向，一切智具，令我得生，使力光顾。Okay, ready? Together? A good advisor is a torch that approaches omniscience, for he guides me to produce the light of the 10 powers. Okay, what are the 10 powers? Those are, they come up in the Avatamsaka a lot. Those are abilities that Buddhas have and Bodhisattvas have that help them teach. They include such things as looking at the person whom you want to communicate with and knowing exactly where they were in their past lives. You know exactly what language they understand. You know exactly what their habits are. Are they more mathematical or are they more artistic? Are they more athletic or are they more scientific? And you know exactly what to say so that they go, oh, right? So when you have these 10 powers, they're the Rulai Shi Zhi Li, the Tathagata's 10 wisdom powers, Pusa Shi Zhi Li, the Bodhisattva's 10 wisdom powers. They're incredible teaching tools that at a certain point they develop naturally from within when the Bodhisattva needs them to teach. Think about this. What's your relationship with your dad? Right? Many of us would say, well, my dad, I have to remember because it's over. He's been gone for a long time. But when it was there, frustration a lot because I didn't always feel like I was communicating with him. My dad didn't show his emotions. Bodhisattva goes, oh, did you try this? You go, no, I wish I'd thought of that. That would have worked just right because my dad was this kind of guy, you know? And so when you get it down to the people who you really want to communicate with, somebody who is like a closed book, you know there's a way to reach them, but what do you say? How do you present yourself in order to get them to want to cultivate the way, right? Or to at least stop hurting themselves, right? That's where these 10 powers would really, really be helpful. All right, moving on. Next one. Ready? Give you a line. 善知识者，此是趋向，一切智道，令我得入涅槃成故。Okay, together. A good advisor is a road that approaches omniscience, for he guides me to the city of nirvana. I'll say it tonight, and who knows, maybe these seeds will find fertile ground. If you travel to Buddhist Asia, and I'm thinking about China, about Taiwan, about Vietnam, even sometimes Korea, Philippines, and you mention the city of 10,000 Buddhas, what you discover is that our city of 10,000 Buddhas, because of the virtue of our teacher, because of the reputation that our teacher generates, people hold the city of 10,000 Buddhas as the next best place to visit after the Pure Land. The best place, the best spiritual space is the Pure Land of Amitabha. Second best, city of 10,000 Buddhas. Now that's only a little exaggeration, but for people, not much. For people who appreciate cultivation and who really are looking for a sacred space in Buddhism, the city of 10,000 Buddhas is where people want to come. I kid you not. And it's amazing to be from the city of 10,000 Buddhas and realize how high it is held in esteem by Buddhists in Asia. I say that with a lot of affection and to make the point that I really would be happy if the city of 10,000 Buddhas would prepare for those Buddhists and welcome them to come and pay their respects and bow to the Buddhas at City of 10,000 Buddhas. We somehow often seem to overlook that reality, that if we were to make our place welcoming to pilgrims, it would be a major, major pilgrim site. You think about the pilgrimage of the Camino, El Camino de Santiago, Compostela in Spain, or the pilgrimage sites in Japan. They've been welcoming pilgrims for hundreds of years, and as a result, it's a living, enduring place, and Buddhism would flourish. I would wish that somehow people would, it's not for the monks necessarily to do, I think it's for the lay people to kind of organize it and get the spaces available and, take some planning, but I think it should be done. Because I see this potential. Because I get out into the Buddhist world and I talk and listen to how people react to the name Xuan Gong Shangren, Lü Mei Gao Seng, the noble monk who came to the West. And then I come back home and I realize that it's my job to let people know how important CTTB and its vision is in the world to Buddhists and to pilgrims. And we should prepare. We're not living up to our teacher's vision when we only know to do our own fa hui and don't prepare for those who could come. So, word to the wise. All right, we got 5 of them. Let's go on. Here we go. This one right here. 善知识者，此是趋向，一切智灯，令我得见，以显道故。Okay, here we go. Ready? A good advisor is a lamp that approaches omniscience, for he guides me to recognize safe and perilous paths. 2 different kinds, safe roads to walk, dangerous roads to walk. You need to be able to recognize both. They are not all the same. And sometimes people who portray themselves one way turn out to be not 善知识, but 恶知识. And it's really important to know the difference. Here we go. Next, ready? 善知识者，此是趋向，一切智巧，令我得度，险恶处故。Together, a good advisor is a bridge that approaches omniscience, for he takes me across treacherous and evil places. Doesn't have to be like evil, somebody trying to hurt. It can be places of extreme emotion, like when someone dies, or when we discover that we have been the person who got admitted into Cal and then discovered that there was a mistake in the filing, and they get the letter that says, "We're sorry, we are withdrawing our welcome to you. This happened not long ago. It was a clerical error." How would you, if you were the parents of a 19-year-old who'd applied and got the letter that said welcome, and then were told later that you couldn't go, how would you respond to your child, to your teenager, right? How would you, as the parent, So a good and wise advisor looks at us and sees that we in our lives meet these disappointments, we meet these shocks, and they are there to say, don't be attached so much. Even the mountains come down and switch with the oceans. How much the more are human affairs prone to impermanence and to sudden changes. And someone with wisdom is able to balance. It's not the case that everything happy is always good. You can also get attached to happiness. So we don't want to attach to suffering or happiness, either one, but find our balance in between and grow. Everything that we meet is a chance to grow, right? So if you have somebody in your life who can help you get across the big disappointments and to calm you down after the great successes, so you don't go beyond the middle in each one, that is a true shan zhishi. And good advisors are those people who help us get across those difficult, painful places. Here we go. One more. Ready? 善知识者，此是趋向，一切智盖，令我得称大慈良故。 Here we are, right there, ready? A good advisor is a canopy that approaches omniscience, for he guides me to produce the coolness of great kindness. These last couple of weeks, I've been up at City of 10,000 Buddhas, writing and editing volume 10 of the Three Steps, One Bow journals. And it's been very humbling because I've been going through, as I reread what I was writing almost 50 years ago, 47 years ago, in 1979, from the Golden Gate Bridge to Ukiah. So we're going through Marin and Sonoma. I'm not quite in Mendocino. And these events that I encountered, and I was silent during this time. I didn't talk. So all of this internal analysis as I bowed, and I realized that most of the time, my attitude was too hard on myself. My general attitude was harsh and forcing because of why? Seeking, wanting, hoping for a result. And that seeking produced pressure and fear that what if I go another 3 months and I'm not enlightened? What then? Something must be wrong, That attitude is off and it's tight. And I have these encounters where Master Hua would show up suddenly, and often for months, he would be saying the same thing to me. He would say, 道无求处，便无有。你懂吗? He would say, when you reach the place of seeking nothing, all your worries are over. Do you understand? And I would go, yes, no, yeah, no. You say in Australia, yeah, nah, Shifu, yeah, nah. And clearly I didn't. And the result of the seeking, even if you're seeking something good, is greed. And greed hardens because you want it and you want it and you want it and you're reaching for it. And if it doesn't come, what happens is anger. And then because of the anger, you can't find your mind. You lose sight of that subtle Dharma. So whenever Shifu would come out and remind me that I was so tight because I was seeking, there would be maybe an hour or an evening or a day of coolness, because not only did Shifu give you words that pointed you in the right direction, but his presence, he would sort of invisibly wipe away the affliction. And there would be a few hours of coolness and kindness because I would spontaneously let go and relax and remember that kindness is the Buddha's way. So this is truly just being close to a true good advisor who knows how to apply the method. What do they say? 金者崩，慢者送，不进不慢就成功. If you're too tight, 金者崩, you trip. Too loose, 金者崩，慢者送. If you're too tight, you stumble. If you're too loose, you fall behind. Not too tight, not too loose. And you get there right on time. Right? 金者崩，慢者送，不进不慢就成功. So the coolness of great kindness is truly the flavor of a good and wise advisor. Boy, they are precious. Okay, here we go. Another one. Ready? 善知识者，此是趋向，一切智言，令我得见，法性门故. Here we go. Ready? A good advisor is an eye that approaches omniscience, for he guides me to see the nature of dharmas. Right? If when you have someone who is truly knowledgeable but goes deeper than the surface, penetrates the surface to show you what's happening inside, that is so priceless. And there's a sound there that is unmistakable. Somebody who really gets it. And I remember because of the birds that I had the blessing to be able to live in and around. I live in the space where birds live, and they kind of welcome me into the bush in Australia. And I can watch their behavior and get clues, but not understand the motives. And we had an old salt who knew exactly what was going on and probably was as much of a bird as he was a human. Who knows? But when you have someone who says, "Yeah, right. If you notice, they'll be doing this, right? And yes, they are. Oh, well, that's because da 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 da." And it's like, suddenly that piece is added to it, and you understand this is truly what's going on. And when you have, that's a kind of knowledge simply by being around birds. When you have a true good advisor who understands Dharma, they explain pieces of your mind that you have never put together before. And suddenly, something that was always an obstacle for you and you never got past, you just add that piece and of wisdom supplied by the good advisor, and suddenly, 万里晴天,万里无云, right? 10,000 miles of blue sky, 10,000 miles without a cloud. Just because that good advisor sees the nature of dharmas and gives you that peace that lets you connect and progress beyond a place where you were ever able to go on your own. True good and wise advisor. So let's see here. We've got one more. We ready? Here we go. This one right here. 善知识者，此是趋向，一切智潮，令我满足，大杯水故。Ready? A good advisor is a tide that approaches omniscience, for he fills me with the water of great compassion. 大杯水. This is whether it's the same one. Let's see. 大杯水. Currently, we don't have any 大杯水. We used to have 大杯水 is great compassion water that in our monasteries, people like to keep it in a particular container with cups, and where you do the great compassion repentance or recite the great compassion mantra, the water is meant to gather some of the goodness of Guanyin Bodhisattva's great compassion, and supposed to be able to heal illness. We'll talk about that. Talk about that later. There's more to come on that. So, all right, now take a look. Here are the analogies that we just read for the good advisor. A gate, a vehicle, a boat, a torch, a road, a lamp, a bridge, a canopy, an eye, and a tide. Sudana is quite a poet. Look at these analogies. He's picked ordinary stuff. We all know what a gate is, what a door is. We've all ridden in vehicles. Occasionally we get on a boat, a torch, meaning we have torches on our phones, right? Lamps. Roads, lamp, bridge, canopy, eye, tide. So natural images that he wants the teacher, this rishi, to know how much he appreciates. He hasn't said anything yet to his teacher other than, "Oh, you're a real teacher," says Sudana. And then he spontaneously comes up with these praises of a true, good and wise advisor. I wanted, as I was going through this last week, we had a real shocking encounter with Master Empty Cloud's story this week. It was yesterday, and in the story, people know we've been going through the biography, the picture biography of Master Empty Cloud, and he is 112 in this year that we study, that we get to him. And he is at Yunmen. Yunmen is down in Guangzhou. And oops, that's not what I want. This one. What has happened is it's now 1951. So the communists have pushed the nationalists to Taiwan. And the Japanese have been defeated. World War II is over. But China is still experiencing difficulties. It's not secure yet. And so 100 armed men surround Yunmen Monastery. They're looking for gold and silver. They have been told that Master Empty Cloud has lots of gold and silver and weapons and an electrical generator. Now, Yunmen is out in the boondocks. It's in the mountains, and it's close to the Yao minority. People know that China has many Xiaoshu Minzus, minority groups. The Yao people is one of the largest groups. It's really rugged out there, and the Civil War has destroyed lots of the infrastructure, like telegraph, and things like that, and the roads. So when 100 armed men suddenly encircle Yunmen Monastery, looking for stuff that rumors have it that our 112-year-old monk, who never scrape 2 pennies together, that he's rich and has gold and silver, they start to beat the monks and interrogate them. Where are they hiding the gold and silver? They tear Yunmen Monastery apart, brick by brick, roof tile by roof tile. And after days of locking all the monks into the Chan Hall and the Dharma Hall, they lock Master Empty Cloud into the abbot's quarters and start to beat him. And they beat him savagely and kick him on the ground, and he's bleeding from every orifice. And they beat him 4 successive times until there's almost nothing left. And his disciples are terrified because this is the saintly Master Empty Cloud, our precious teacher, who is 112 years old. How many 112-year-olds have you ever met, right? There aren't many of them in the world. And yet here they are treating him like a punching bag. And he's now more dead than alive. And his disciples pick him up and put him onto the meditation cushion. And he's not breathing anymore, but he's warm. He didn't lose temperature, and his face is calm. And so they don't know, is he alive, is he dead? And so he gradually, on the bed, assumes the nirvana position, right, the Ji Shang Wo. And his disciples are brokenhearted because Master Empty Cloud, their teacher, the good and wise advisor, is dead. And 4 days later, he groans and opens his eyes. And the monks are like, oh, Shifu's back. And they say, what happened? And he says, quick, get a pen and write this down, but don't tell people about it because it could lead to doubts and slander. He says, I went off to the Tushita heaven. Maitreya Bodhisattva was speaking Dharma. And I saw there all of these old monks whom I knew decades ago, but who have died. They're all there, including Master Hanshan and others. And they showed me to a seat. The 3rd seat in the front row was waiting for me. And when I got there, Maitreya Bodhisattva said, you have to go back. Your time's not done. And I said, says Master Empty Cloud, no, I can't go back. My body's broken. I want to stay here. Maitreya Bodhisattva said, you have to go back. Your job is not done yet. You can come back when your time is here. You know, when your time is up, you can come back. But now you return. So he says, and so I'm back. He said, it seems like a matter of minutes. He said, how long was it? He said, 4 days. So he goes back. And so at this point, the bandits come in and realize that the monk who they beat to death isn't dead. They couldn't kill him. They couldn't beat him to death. He survived. So what do you say about a teacher like this? And I have something very interesting. John, who is here with us, sent me some photographs of his grandpa, who was known to our teacher. Here is Shifu, Master Xuan Hua, being hosted by John's grandfather in San Francisco, who was a Taoist of some repute and was well known in San Francisco. So he invited Shifu to come and be with his community. They were, in fact, good friends. So there's John's grandfather. But the reason I wanted to show you this in particular, look who is here. It's Master Empty Cloud. Standing right behind him is John's grandfather. Look at the faces of these monks and lay people, lay women. They know they're in the presence of a sage. John's grandpa had the opportunity to, here he is with members of his community here. San Francisco Chinatown photos. And here is a, let's see, oh, I'm looking for the, oh, here we are. This is the refuge certificate that you got when you took refuge with Master Empty Cloud. This is the Guiyi Die, the Guangdong Caoxi Baolinshan Nanhua Monastery, Qianfo Jietan. So John's grandfather took refuge, Mr. Wu Fusheng, with Master Empty Cloud. And this is when you, our Guiyi Zheng, our refuge certificate, is in a red or brown printed page, but this is the way it was done back in the 50s. So truly remarkable, good and wise advisor who, as an 8th-stage bodhisattva, still had such incredible karma that he had to go through being beaten to death. He died twice before, and Manjushri Bodhisattva saved him from freezing to death and starving to death. But in this case, it was Maitreya Bodhisattva in the Tushita heaven who sent Master Empty Cloud back, right? So how do you calculate? What can you say about a good and wise advisor like that? You know, is that person qualified to give us advice about our issues in life? Absolutely. What an incredible blessing to be able to meet someone like that, or to be able to at least know his Dharma heirs, right? Our teacher, Shangshen Xiahua, Lao He. So just truly amazing, truly amazing. All right, here we go. Question about meditation. I used to meditate by counting my breath. It's been working well. I was able to deepen the practice as time goes by. Then I learned the advice I should meditate with who is reciting the Buddha's name, and I looked into it. It's been years, 5 years, since I changed the method. Seems the act of active looking into who's reciting doing the opposite of my experience of meditation before. I'm not able to get to the peace of the zone since my mind is actively reciting and looking for who is reciting. Is meditating with who is reciting and looking into it really a must? What's the rationale behind it? Okay, 就说以前数习惯不错，现在参话头麻烦，什么道理？ So the question is, what is the best way to meditate? And my answer is, depends on the individual, depends on your makeup, your nature. Our teacher is a Chan master. And in the Chan halls of China, the standard, most popular method of meditating is Can Huatou, to look into the word topic, the word head, the meditation topic, huatou, literally word, language head. So when Shifu taught us to meditate, he said, 你们要参话头，念佛是水, go and do it. Shifu is a traditional teacher. Meanwhile, once we started sitting, Shifu would give us all of the standard, the language. He introduced us to the whole culture of Chan meditation. But when it got right down to how do you yong gong, he would go into things like, you have to be really patient. You have to ren ren so banang ren, rang ren so banang rang. You have to endure what people can't endure. You have to bear up with what people can't, He would give us all of the culture around it. But he didn't break it down. Westerners, modern people like a lot of words around it. Shifu didn't bend to that. I had the chance to watch some traditional martial arts teachers pass on their gongfu. And you know what they did? If you ever got a chance, there was Guo Liying was a guy over here in Portsmouth Square in San Francisco. And he would go, oh, yeah, well, you want to see those moves? There it is, go practice. You'd go, did I see it? You say, oh, will you do it again? Do it again. It wasn't so simple. And they wouldn't talk about it and explain it. No. It's like, that's the move. Did you see it? Okay, go do it. And because passing on martial arts information, passing on Chan is not a wordy thing. It's not intellectual in the least. It's a way of yong gong, of using a method. So, back to your question here, Chan Huatou is nian fo shi shui. Who's reciting the Buddha's name? Are you reciting the Buddha's name? No, I'm not. Never mind the huatou. It's not going to work for you until you build it upon the foundation of holding precepts, crossing your legs, getting your body ready to sit in full lotus, right? So all these foundations have to be there before the Chan Huatou starts to work. So I would say to the questioner, don't worry about it. If you like to count your breath and you're happy with it, definitely count your breath. Don't stop because somebody says you should San Huatou. Clearly, you don't have the foundation for it because it's tying you in knots. So continue. Go back to the method you were using that your practice was deepening as time goes by. Go for it. Don't stop. Now, when you have a chance, if you want to learn how to Chan Huatou, that's a practice for a lifetime. Don't be in a hurry to pick it up. Find somebody who really knows how to do it and practice with them. For me to give you instructions on Zoom in 5 minutes, not gonna. I'm gonna be like Master Guo Liying and say, you saw it, go practice, right? Don't worry about it, about San Huatou. It's not easy, but it is ultimate. San Huatou is the ultimate method of Chan. If you want to learn how to do it, study. Zhengzi says, every day I examine myself on 3 points. Is this kind of daily self-examination within the same scope as the practice of contemplation upon oneself each day? Let's see what the Chinese is. 就说曾子let's see 523性5山是每一照顾自己是否在同一个范围哪一个范围感恩法师那个忏悔 曾子他这样做呢，是不是那么深密啊？他就说，我就考虑今天我所说的、我所做的、我所想的，有没有错啊？有没有正确？效果怎么样？我有没有达到自己发愿度众生的目的地？他会这样想，然后就考虑，如果有的话，那就可以没有问题；如果没有，那就要改。这么说，这个范围，师父给我们这个方法，可以每天用，不但每天可以用，每个念头都可以用。怎么说呢？六大宗旨，六大宗旨就是这个范围，就说刚刚那个念头，我认识自己在那儿想什么，有没有真心？没有的话，继续做，不会生烦恼；有的话，收回来。让而不争，那就是这个反位，那就是曾子的每天反省三次，一样的，就说我们的心有弹性I'm speaking in Chinese, aren't I? So Shifu gives us this method exactly the same. Use the 6 guidelines. What does he say? He says, look at that next thought. Because my mind is more or less quiet, I can see that thought rise up. Is there fighting energy in it? If there's fighting energy in that thought, pull it back. We say, Rang or Bujang, yield and don't fight. That's Zhengzi's energy. Exactly that. Our minds are flexible. We have a thought. If it's a loser, don't pursue it. What happens? No affliction. If we pursue our fighting, greedy, seeking, selfish, self-benefit, dishonest thoughts, you know what happens? Affliction. We run into obstacles. We leave a trail of destruction behind us, right? So Zhengzi, there's nothing magical here. Zhengzi is just saying, wow, today I thought this, said this, and did this. How did it go? How did it work out? Did people respond, or was it a disaster, right? Or something in between? So it's a really, really wholesome practice. So Zhengzi, who criticizes himself 3 times a day, is just reviewing. What did I do? We, students of Master Xuan Hua, do it with every thought. We don't have to wait till the end of the day, right? That way, those 6 guidelines really help us avoid mistakes. Okay, if someone wants to leave home and become a monk at city of Shurangama Monastery, what's the process? We got some confusion here. Shurangama Monastery, there we go. Here's what I will do. I will invite you to write an email to info at, let's see here, Mr. Translator, who is listening there in Australia, type into the question the correct email for information. Is it information at shurangama.org, or what is it? How do you get what I'm going to direct the questioner to is ask directly. Ask the staff at Shurangama Monastery. What is the process and the qualifications? I can't speak for them. All right? So let's see here. There it is right there. gcdr.australia.gmail.com. Ask your question there. You can ask in Chinese, and you'll get a precise answer. Okay, well done. Isn't that magical? Australia is writing on my website. Wow. Golly, Mr. Science. Okay, I have a question for you all. I know you're all signed up to recite Amitabha's name with us on Thursdays, right? The answer is yes, Dharma Master, we are. Okay, if you're not, go to amitabha.drba.org, and it will give you this form. Put your name here, your email twice, and where you're located, then sign me up. We will send you an email on Wednesday or Thursday with a Zoom link. Click on that link, it'll take you there. 220 of you did it this last week. 400 people have signed up already. And together, we will recite the Buddha's name in English. Now, my question for all of you is, this last week, somehow magically, I managed to get my guitar too high. So the pitch of the reciting was too high. My question for all of you is, how is this? Namo Amita Buddha. Namo Amita Buddha. Namo Amita Buddha. Namo Amita. Okay, is that a good pitch? Namo Amita Buddha. Namo Amita. Namo Amita. Namo Amita. Namo Amita. Namo Amita. Namo Amita. Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Amitabha. Okay, so I brought another guitar down here so that you could hear it. What's the difference if we were to drop it just a half step? Only a half step down. That, for the guitarists among us, that was D. It's the key of D. And if we were to drop it half a step to E sharp, let's see, to D flat, which is C sharp, it would be here we go. Namo Amita Buddha. Amita Namo Amita Buddha. Too low, right? Yes, that's a little too low. Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha. That's too low, right? Namo Amitabha. Okay. Compare what half a step does. Ready? Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitabha. Right? That half step is better. Yes? Agreed? Right? Okay, good, good, good. All right, this is D. That was half step down, so D flat or C sharp. Okay. Good, good, good. There we are. Now, the songs that we're doing, hold on here, save. There we go. Save the chat. The songs that we're doing are, I want to show you about them. We are collecting Amitabha songs, and we've got a collection now. Thanks to the former Bhikshuni Heng Yin, Lonnie Bauer, who created this jewel. Don't say the Western land is somebody else's dream. Here in the suffering Saha world, things are not what they seem. You can learn to return the light and recite the Buddha's name a lot. 7 pools with their 7 jewels will appear in the space of a thought. Amitabha Buddha in a former life was a bhikshu named Fadzang. He made 48 vows, and every vow was to take living beings along to the Western land where the living's grand, people know no pain. Don't you know that you can go if you'll just keep reciting his name? Like that. That's one great song. This one, which I am working on, I'm happy that this one has come along the way it has. Let's see here. This is good with a banjo. What are they doing? Pure land today. Suffering and sorrow are all done away. Praising Amitabha, cultivating the way. That's what they're doing here now. Thinking of friends I used to know, who suffered and sorrowed in samsara below. Gone off to the Pure Land, and I want to know, what are they doing now? What are they doing in the Pure Land today? Suffering and sorrow are all done away. Listening to the Dharma, mindful night and day. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Isn't that good? That one really has a flavor to it. And then we've already done this one. I'll never stop reciting. We did that the first evening of the reciting. Then let's see here. We've got Super Strong, that Marty Hung Chao wrote that one, and 2 or 3 more. So we're coming along, and every week we hope to introduce a new one, so that, and you can, our website that's growing allows you here to find the lyrics to the songs and also the recordings of the previous week. So we're going to have a library of Amitabha songs. And the songs are there so that during the week you can bring them up and help you recite. That's the idea. Okay, time is up, and we're going to dedicate merit. And this is actually the very guitar that I used on that recording, the first recording on Paramita, American Buddhist Folk Songs. This is the, anybody who knows that album will recognize the sound of this guitar. And it starts, this is actually a better pitch for this song. So please make your wish, and thank you all for joining. There's 93 of us online here. We'll see you all next week. Every living being, our minds as one and radiant with of peace, hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake, compassion, wisdom, may kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief. May this light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassion. May all become compassion and love. Alrighty, and we've got Guanyin Bodhisattva we can bow to, if you're willing to join me. Here we go. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Going to do it for us for tonight. So long. See you all next week, everyone. Amitofo.